am Kina Day, and Black women are power, Black men are power, and we need to work together to build the best leaders in our community going forward, and that's the scenario.
Hey, this is Danielle McGee from Black Business Boom, reminding you to shop Black and save, and that's the scenario.
This is Herman Hicks. Watch your wealth grow, make that money, and that's the scenario.
All right, so the barbershop has a lot going on in the Black community. That's the place where you can talk about whatever you need to talk about, speak your piece. Even if you don't know what you're talking about, you can still say it. You may get some pushback, but that's where we go to share our thoughts. Today, on this episode, we have a few barbers who are getting into some things that I don't know if we've been talking about enough in our community, and they are starting to change that with the Cutting Out Stigma initiative. So we want to introduce to you all Dewan, Shad, and Big Steve. How y'all brothers doing?
Peace.
Doing fine.
Greetings.
Doing awesome, actually.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's good to have y'all, man. All right, so I heard about the Cutting Out Stigma initiative, and I was immediately intrigued. I said, I got to get these brothers on. I need to hear about how did this get started, who put this whole thing together, and talk about exactly what it is, Cutting Out Stigma. Tell the people what it's about.
Okay, well, I guess I should start right there as being one of the founding members of the program. I got introduced to Dr. Ironman, who's the head of the Cutting Out the Stigma program. She's an adjunct at Vanderbilt, and she's over at Mass General in Boston. I met her through Streetworks. In my shop, I already had been part of a condom distribution initiative with Streetworks. So when they came in to Streetworks and talked to them about getting out information about HIV and Black heterosexual men, they had tapped that barber community that they already had for as the condom distribution. So we got on a series of calls, and they was trying to find out if they even thought that it was viable. Would the barbershop would be a good place to disseminate some of this type of information. And once we had a few conversations about it, we all agreed that it was a great way to use what we already do normally in the barbershop to disseminate this good information and get people aware of not only HIV and cutting out the stigma, but men's health in general. So we designed the program, put in some parameters. And one of the things I like to let people know is that first and foremost, we're men's health ambassadors. We're just lean and slant toward, HIV and HIV awareness. And that in itself will cut out the stigma. But the biggest portion is to just talk about Black men and their health and getting them to go to doctors, get checkups and things of that nature.
So how do you approach these conversations about health, sexual health, and all of that in a way that doesn't feel uncomfortable to the client?
Well, for me, the thing is, as men, if we're being honest, we already have those kind of conversations anyway. When we talk sports, we talk statistics. So with Cutting Out Stigma, they give us statistics, and when you got a guy that want to brag on, well, I had 3 this week, and you can throw those numbers out there to him, and you segue that into, hey man, you got to be a little safe, and you got to kind of stop playing Russian roulette with your life, because here are these numbers, and this is where it comes from. And when you show them that, it allows you to kind of bring reality and the infatuation with sexual activity into a full circle in order to get them to kind of reel it in and kind of think about what you're doing. As well as, like Big Steve says, Streetworks has packets that they give us and that we share and we give out. Most of mine go probably prom time, because I deal with more older business oriented clientele that, not really to say they're better than anybody, but they seem to play life on a different type of note.
now that you guys have been doing this, approaching with statistics, with information that, you know, a lot of times doesn't get passed along in conversation, what have you found to be the biggest misconception that a lot of people seem to have as far as HIV is concerned, in Black heterosexual men specifically?
Well, I can
Me
tell.
personally,
Go ahead, bro.
I would like to say like the idea that it can't happen to me,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying, or that it's something that's far off in the distance and you know you'll never run into it. Hearing the stories of people who were in monogamous relationships, monogamous heterosexual relationships, and still was exposed to HIV. You know, you just hear a lot of stories that make the reality of it closer to home. You know, it might not be you, but it might be your family member. It may not be you, but it might be your ex, right? Or you might meet somebody that you fall in love with, and then they have, you know, they're living with the virus. And so just the idea that it's something that's far off, you know, just a conversation really was brought to the forefront that, you know, we're always in arm's reach of somebody that's been impacted with the HIV virus.
I'm one of two people that actually go to Vanderbilt. You know, that we got in through it in the beginning, and we going to be community health workers at Vanderbilt nursing thing. So, like from a personal view, the biggest thing to me is that you know, it's not a death sentence anymore. It's they identify it as a chronic illness, and the difference between that and then what it was is that chronic illness is an illness that, when treated, you can live a healthy, full life with. You still have it, but it can be maintained through medicines and you know, living life a certain way. So knowing that and that alone, man, is one of the biggest things to cut and break the stigma of HIV, because the way that we got it and the way they left it was that when you got it, you dead, and such, you know, you go from AIDS to full blown AIDS. Well, they don't even use that terminology anymore. They don't even use the terminology full blown AIDS anymore, because it's a chronic illness. It can be medicated, it can be mediated, like diabetes or cancer. You know what I'm saying? Actually, cancer may be more deadly because you know, this can be mediated and controlled a whole lot better than they can cancer. So, you know, that was a great thing. And then they got PrEP and they got PEP. And I wasn't even aware of that before I came into this world, that they had medications that you could take before you came in contact with the virus that could protect you. So knowing that stuff was big for me.
Well, what are any other lessons, anything you guys picked up, any other things you guys have picked up since you've been doing this that you weren't aware of before you kind of got on this mission?
For me, it was this program has given me an opportunity to be more intentional about building relationships with the people in my chair. You know, we got a lot of training on how to have these conversations, and a lot of times you got to connect with the person, you know, on a lot of different levels before you come right in and just start asking them about, you know what I'm saying, their sex life and their sexual health.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
wondering about that.
yeah, you just can't come in and be like, hey, who you doing? What you doing? I heard you was out there doing crazy stuff. Now you gotta, like, you know, you start out with just general care about themselves. How much sleep you getting? You know what I'm saying? Are you stressed out? When the last time you went to the hospital? Like, you have to start building a rapport and a relationship of care first. Like, I care about your health and I want you to live a long life. Therefore, here's this information that could save you. You see what I'm saying? We've had stories. You told me about your shenanigans and the type of adventures you be going around and doing. And because I care about you and I want you to protect yourself, here's some information and some resources, you know what I'm saying, that could help you out. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, was being more intentional about caring for my clients.
Yeah, and similar to what Shai said, man, it's kind of like you have to find and meet the people where they are. And like I said earlier, it can go from sports into, yeah, I such, and then you just allow them to talk. And for me, it's kind of cool with the health part because I've changed my diet and I've lost like 23 pounds. And so everybody's got questions about that. And so I just kind of spin off of that and be like, well, let's talk about this also. Because I had the posters up, I had the prep pamphlets, the condoms, the HIV tests, and all that stuff on an empty station in my shop. And so it's kind of like that's a conversation piece in itself. So they see it and say, hey, man, what's the deal with the HIV test? And then we get to talking about, the statistics in Memphis, the statistics across the country, and the chlamydia, and the other STDs, STIs, however you want to classify them. And you just kind of, saying, you got to be smooth with it and not just kind of come in and just debo somebody into talking about, hey, man, you got to be safe. You can't be out here just kamikaze and just want to do this and do that. And, you just kind of got to be smooth with it.
Yeah. You don't want to be trying to line somebody up and then just all of a sudden just jump there. So, you use condoms? It's a little bit off right there. It's obviously these things are important. I think earlier Big Steve was talking about street team. He's talking about that providing condoms. Is like where did that start? At what point? I'm sure that wasn't something you began doing as a barber, was it? What made you decide that this is something that needs to be happening at the barbershop?
Well, for me, I'm a part of the recovery community. Sunrise, the creek don't flood. On the 21st of March, I have 12 years clean. So I'm a product of community-based programming, which is Narcotics Anonymous. So I met a lot of people within the Streetworks community through that medium, and so I understood before I even came into this that it's a lot of promiscuity going around. Period. As a young black man growing up in the city, I remember getting condoms was a real ordeal to go through. You know what I'm saying? And there wasn't no anonymity when you go and get the condoms at the store, this, that, and the other. And as an older person now, I'll be 55 next month too. I wanted young people to have a place, a safe space that they could get real world information, and they could get those condoms to protect themselves, and not bring any unwanted children in and get themselves caught up in a whole lot of stuff like that. So that was my first motivation. A little throwback to the last question. One of the things was that I've learned in this process, man, because I'm a 70s baby. So when HIV came around, man, they haven't done much since the time it came around to make it seem more than just like a gay man's disease or homosexual disease or LGBTQ, and to find out that it was just a disease and it didn't pick and choose, who was going to ride with it. Was going to ride with whoever that slept with somebody that was infected. And people jumping sides and stuff now. So that was one of the things that I found out that I wasn't aware of, that now this is just a disease. And if you're unfortunate enough to come in contact with it because you had protected yourself from it, that then you would have to be dealing with this thing. And it's more than just a sex thing too. You can be an intravenous drug user and get it. Matter of fact, more drug users contract HIV that way. There's more ways to contract it than just having sex.
So we've gotten to a place where it seems like there's more talk about mental health in the community, and more black people seem to be, amenable to talking about mental health. Do you guys feel like black men are getting to a place where they're more interested in talking about their physical health, or going to doctors, or talking about going to a doctor, just medical? Because I know we've always been pretty good about talking about, I think a lot of times as black men, when we think of taking care of our bodies, we think of, well, I go to the gym, I exercise, I do those things. But I don't think we think the going to the doctor or doing, taking care of, just those regular checkups as part of that whole process. Do y'all see a change in that as you've been having these conversations, or do you think we still got a ways to go with something like that?
Well, me personally, I think that we have a ways to go, because the whole mindset of that we were raised on of we're strong, we don't cry, we can overcome just about anything as a man, specifically a black man. has kind of steered us in that direction. But for me, it has always been a big thing to encourage the clients to get that yearly, do a follow up. And you spoke on the mental health piece. If you don't know your physical health, then that can play with your mental health all at the same time, because both of those go hand in hand. And with me, as well as Cutting Out the Stigma, I'm also a part of the Confess Project, to where I did training on mental health. And I try to use the two to kind of encourage my guys. You know, we want to be right physically so that the physical part doesn't cause us to break down and cause us to have mental issues. And I also have, like on Fridays, I have a client and she's a licensed counselor. And we open the doors for the guys to come. We have a little conversation, and if guys want to, they become a patient of hers, a client of hers. And with her, I try to piggyback on, hey guys, this is a good thing. It's not a negative thing. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a man, but this is something that we need to do, because through those conversations also with her, guys can also be encouraged to go and do things on the physical health side, as well as, go and get a physical, go and get tested for HIV and AIDS, because those things are pivotal in the lives of all of us.
Yeah, I think, me personally, my own personal journey has increased the awareness of mental health. I survived a suicide attempt in 2019, and, that shocked my world. Everything was going right. Everything was going good. And then this happened. And so, it was a matter of life and death for me getting on my horse and taking care of myself. And so I still go to counseling weekly. I'll probably be going to counseling the rest of my life in some way, shape, or form. But like he said, the mental health plays into the physical health. I know in my barbershop, we have these conversations every day, all the time. We're right in front of Meharry Medical College. So doctors are always coming in, having conversations about health and how to do it better. I think over the past couple years, with the popularity of like Dr. Sebi and Nip Hustle, like there's an increased conversation about the value of a Black man's life to another Black man. You know what I'm saying? To yourself and to others. And what can we do about increasing that value, right? Whether it be financial, physical, mental, spiritual. It just seems like there's more conversation. It's still a long way to go because we started so far back, but we are starting to normalize being a healthy, whole human being, like and it's okay to be a Black man and to be healthy.
Yeah, that's good. We've had conversations on the show about it before, and we've done an entire piece on men's health in general. And one of the things I can't remember who it was maybe one of the doctors that we had talked to. So he said something that always stuck with me, and that was that if you really are interested in being a provider and a protector for your family, there's one of the most important ways you can protect your family is by making sure that you are healthy and going to the doctor and getting those checkups. Like, you're not protecting your family if you're going to eventually drop some surprise on them because you haven't been looking after yourself, And I was like, I thought that was a really good way of framing it, because I don't think a lot of times we think of it that way, is that we just think of, well, I'm strong, as the one was saying, so what's the point of me doing this? Like, well, you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for the people you love. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking on that, like we're at a place right now in the program where you run into a lot of "I'm good," and now we're helping to define what that means. We're the part of the program where we saying, so what does good mean? You know what I mean? Because people like to see that, man, I'm good, man. How you doing? I'm good. Well, I'm good could mean a whole lot of different things. So we're in the point of the program where we're defining that. So we're not going to let anybody just say I'm good, because I'm good could mean I'm good because I do have HIV, but I'm medicated and I'm taking my medication. So, my viral level is low, so I'm good. Or I'm good could also mean that I've got checked and I know my status and I don't have HIV. That good, I'm good could mean that. Then on the where it comes to mental health, I'm good could mean that I see a therapist and on a regular basis, and I mean check with my feelings and I can name my emotions, so I'm good that way. Or I'm good. I'm good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a great headspace. And you know what I'm saying? I have no need for any of that type of stuff because I see and I name and I can call each emotion what it is. You know, so like so we kind of like in that part of the program. See, the program it specifies cutting the stigma of HIV and everything that surrounds it, but it has a way of bleeding into all aspect of the black man's life. You know, like I think mental health is becoming commonplace now. You know, my own personal journey, man, because you know when you've been controlled by a drug, it takes you on a journey that you never wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? You got in the car, but you didn't know it was going to take you where it took you. And for me myself, after the fourth time in prison, man, I was like, it's got to be something wrong with me, right? So when I entered into therapy, what it done for me, it allowed me to face a lot of childhood traumas and face my own history and man and be able to work that out so that it didn't become part of my future history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we don't deal with the things of the past. You know, we keep carrying all that stuff over into tomorrow, and it always has power in today. So when I was able to do that, man, I was able to and you know, step work too in the 12-step program, it kind of does the same thing. It asks you questions, you answer those questions, and then you learn about why you feel the way you feel about certain things. And once you know the what, when, where, and why, then you can work through those things in a way that we were never taught coming up, you know. So like I think it's good for the black community because a lot of those norms, what goes on in here stays in here, you know, all that kind of stuff, we kind of shedding a lot of that.
Yeah.
Cause secrets
Definitely.
keep you sick. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, okay, so the barbershop is a foundational institution in the black community, and it has been for a long time. This sounds like something it would be great if more barbers, more black men who are right there making contact with other brothers repeatedly were involved with. How can other is there a way that other barbers and or other people in other maybe other institutions in our community that can get involved with something like this?
But honestly, uh we would love to expand the program, take it nationally, you know what I'm saying? But like everything in America, funding. So,
Mm,
you know, that's where we at now. We in the information gathering phase. A lot of what we done was done within the National Institute of Health, and that's one of the programs that Trump just cut. So, you know, it's one of those type of things.
hopefully we can figure out a way to make this connect for a lot of other people. Like you said, I know funding is a big thing, but hopefully some other people can hear this, get inspired, and if nothing else, they can build upon what you guys are doing because I think it's really important. Uh, Shad had to leave us. Okay, so I want to thank you guys again for joining us. This has been great. I'm hoping that more people get involved with something like this. What's the website? What's the website that people can go to so they can find out more about what you guys are doing?
On all the social media platforms, you got Cutting Out the Stigma. You know, you can find us under there. I know we on Instagram, Facebook, and
Okay.
Twitter is Cutting Out the Stigma. Yeah.
CuttingoutStigma.com is the main website.
Okay. All right. Well, it
Okay.
sounds like there's a lot of great ways for people to get involved and get in touch with what you guys are doing. Hopefully, we can get the word out and have more people get on top of this and make this conversation something that we're just accustomed to. We just normalize it. I love it. I love what you guys are doing. I appreciate you for taking the time to share with us today.
Hey man, no
Thank you for
problem.
having me.
I appreciate you guys for having us on.
What up, fellow Scenarians? Be sure to stay locked in by subscribing to www.thescenarioradioshow.com and pull up a seat to the grown-ups table. Also, hit the notification button to make sure you don't miss any Real Talk with a playlist.